Do you have one of these unfinished quills sitting around in your craft room? I definitely have. And I decided enough is enough. I make something out of it. I want to use it. It's beautiful. And so I decided I will make a junk journal cover out of it. Okay, I show you how. Let's get started. Welcome to the first video of my how to make a junk journal tutorial. We use some ordinary cardboard to create the cover, and I started off with determining the size of the junk journal. We can do it in all the different sizes, but I thought to make it very easy, I take an ordinary sized copy paper A4, fold it in half, and that makes it easier for the future to create the signatures. I will explain that in a later video, but follow along with me right now. I have a scoreboard here that makes it easy for me to help me make the size, and so I have a 1/4 inch on both sides of my folded copy paper. That gives me a little bit of space for the later cover. And here again, a 1/4 inch to the left and a 1/4 inch to the right. And I'm scoring there. If you don't have a scoring board, don't worry. You can measure it with a normal ruler and take a pencil and draw a line and cut it out with a scissor. I also here have a cutter, which makes it handy for me to use. But again, don't stress about having fancy tools. You can use a normal box cutter, or you can use your usual scissors to create the correct sizes of your junk journal cover. Usually it is enough to have 2 cardboards of the same size for the front and the back cover, but I noticed how flimsy mine are, so I have to cut another 2 of the same size and then glue them all together so I have the strength needed for the cover. Here you can see this is the cutted pieces of the A4 paper. You don't need the 2 ones on the top, but I will keep them for a later project. Here you can see all the cut out pieces, and here this is the raw version of the junk journal cover. The front, the back side and the spine, and the second version here that I take to strengthen the cardboard so it is strong enough for the entire journal cover. I'm using a normal glue stick to glue these 2 cardboard sheets together. It holds properly, and it's also good to remember that we will cover the entire thing with fabric and later with another cardboard sheet. So it is not so important that it is very, very strong glue when it is holding in place like this. That's perfectly enough. And now we are coming to the part that I find most exciting, but at the same time most nerve-wracking. Like, now I have to decide which part, and I need to cut into this. And so I'm laying that out with the spine and my front and my back cover to figure out the size and where I actually have to make my cut. Oh, I find this very difficult. So, I found this tool that I hold in my hand in my quilting box. I don't know the name of it, but I will try to find it and look it up. It's a very neat little tool. It has a little wheel in the front, and it helps to make a straight line with chalk to cut along. I had completely forgotten that I have this, and so I also don't know the name of this. So, is this the right size? Yes, yep, I am committed to that. That's the bit. Okay, here we go. Cutting into the quilt. Okay, that's it. The decision has been made, and yep, I think it's a good decision. It's nice. Okay, now we need to do the gluing, to glue the cover and the spine into the fabric. And for doing this, I first need to see, okay, where do I want to place it? Yeah. So I use a brush and my Mod Podge to glue the cardboard into the fabric, because Mod Podge is really good for doing that. It is a very strong glue, a very liquid glue, and the fabric really takes up heaps of glue. It soaks into the fabric a little bit. So what I try to do is a mixture out of having enough glue, but not too much glue that it seeps through the fabric. So because we don't want to have the stains on the other side. So here you can see I cover everything, but I smooth it out so that I don't have any glue blobs that would seep through. Okay. Okay, when gluing down the spine, it's important that you leave a little space between the spine and the front cover, and also the spine and the back cover. So when you open and close the book, it can freely move. Now that it is relatively dry, we are cutting the fabric around the cover to size, and it's roughly 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch around the cover. So enough space that we can glue it to the inside, but not too much so that we have too much bulk inside, especially with the quilted cover. The corners you can see here, I'm making a little bit like a half, no, not a half circle, but I'm cutting it a little bit on an angle, not straight, now and now to the corner and then a little bit to the side. Yeah, so it's here as well, because that overlaps nicely at a later point. I'm using again my brush and Mod Podge to get the edges glued down. It needs a lot of Mod Podge and holding of the fabric. Here you can see, and yeah, it is nice, and I decided to use some clamps. They are usually used in quilting as well, but if you don't have something like that, you also can use any other clamp that you can find, from your washing to your staples. Anything goes. It's just to hold it in place for a while until it dries. Now that we come to the corner here, you can see the way we cut it before. It's nicely fits neatly to each other. It's very important to secure the edges or the corners thoroughly, because it's double, and so of course it needs some further support to be held in place. To press it down a little bit here again, make sure that they are secured and nicely attached. Here I have a little bit too much fabric, so I cut it off so that there's not too much bulk in that corner. Here securing it again nicely. Okay. Okay, now that everything has dried off, we can take off all of the clamps. cover is now nice and sturdy, and we can finish the inside. I decided I use more of the leftover of my quilt, the little black sides here, to stabilize the gap between the spine and the front and the back cover. So by gluing a little bit of fabric over it, it makes it even stronger while keeping it completely flexible. I will again use my Mod Podge and make sure that I get it into the little nooks and crannies there to glue it nicely in, and make sure when I place it that I really try to get in there. I use my bone folder to really press the fabric into this little gap so that the cover of our junk journal remains movable and easy to open and to close. I do this on the other side as well here, and yes, it's coming along nicely. And again, I will use my bone folder and my fingers to really get in there. For the inside, I decided to go with black cardboard, and while the height is perfectly fitting because it's an A4 sheet, I need to figure out the width. And when I looked at it, it's exactly 15 centimeters, a little bit less than 6 inches. And so I mark it on the sheet to cut it out. So twice for the back and the front cover, and the spine turned out to be 5.5 centimeters. It's a little bit less than 2.25 inch. I use 3 different glues because it's really important that it gets solidly glued in, because it will be used, opened and closed quite a bit. So I start off with the spine and really using a lot of Mod Podge to cover the entire area. I make sure that the spine is small enough, or is slim enough, so that it will not overlap with the gaps. So again, that it is easy to open and close. I also use the glue stick, and for the sides a little bit of extra liquid glue to really secure it nicely. Here you can see I open the cover to really make sure that the inner spine is not blocking any movement and any movability. So using my bone folder again to press it down, and the clamps to hold it in place. Don't worry when there is this white leftover of the Mod Podge glue. It will dry and then you can't see it at all. It will disappear. And should there be some leftover bits and pieces, it's a junk journal, and we can later cover it with all sorts of beautiful little things. Here again you can see I'm using my glue stick to cover it nicely, and to go with the liquid white craft glue around the sides, the edges, and a little bit in the middle, so to secure it nicely on the fabric, and again to press it down and to use the clamps to hold it in place so that it has time to dry and stay securely attached to the cover. And here it is, our finished, beautiful junk journal cover. I'm so pleased with it. I'm so pleased. And I like the black inside. It's a nice contrast to the colorful outside. It is really highlighting the beauty of the bright colors. And I'm pleased that the forgotten, unfinished quilt found a new life, a new recycled version in this junk journal cover. If you like to see more of this kind of tutorials and the rest of the upcoming videos for this junk journal, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.